Hello again. Today I'm going to talk about mountain bike racing, endurance mountain bike racing, and you would know that I've got a lot of experience working with endurance cyclists, some off-road, some on-road, and I just want to emphasise the difference between mountain biking and like off-road events and road events. So the main difference is that the mountain bike events can be a lot steeper. You can have steep sections and you can have technical sections whereby it becomes impossible to stay in your aerobic zones. Whereas on the road, if you get your gearing right and you have a good look at the course, you can usually sort of keep yourself within your aerobic zones, below your aerobic threshold, and therefore you don't have to risk going anaerobic and using up really valuable reserves. This also means that you don't need to emphasise the training for that aspect of the event so much, although obviously it's useful to do interval sessions to build up your thresholds and so that everything gets faster. If you increase everybody loves to increase their FTP so they can brag about it, but really if you increase your anaerobic threshold, your aerobic threshold, etc., then your average pace goes up and therefore everything becomes a bit easier and you can go faster overall. In mountain biking, it's really important to do interval sessions to train yourself so that you can cope with the steeper sections where you have to go anaerobic and build that anaerobic capacity so that you can recover properly. So I've got 3 great workouts that I think you should include in your training for an endurance mountain bike event. It's a good idea to keep the sort of polarised approach, which is popularised by Stephen Seiler, and if you haven't heard of him, then it's really worth watching his videos. He's really practical and although not focused on endurance cycling specifically, it's all very relevant. So the first one is the basic one that's going to really make all your fitness go up. It'll build up your anaerobic threshold and also build up this anaerobic capacity, which is important. And if you're not sure what it is, just pop me an email or make a comment and I'll explain in a bit more detail. So this is like the VO2 max. People call these VO2 max intervals, things like 4 by 5 minutes, 5 by 4 minutes. Basically efforts from 3 to 5 minutes long, where you go as hard as you can, and then you have round about the same amount of duration of recovery as you have for your efforts. So the normal one is 4 by 5 minutes or 4 by 4 minutes. And if you do it on a hill, which is the time that you're most likely to need to do it in a mountain bike event, then you can always roll back down the hill for recovery, or if you find a technical sort of loop with a comfortable climb and a technical descent, you can do it as a circuit, which could sometimes be quite good fun and takes your mind off the discomfort that you suffer from when you're doing the uphill sections. One point to make though is that you should do these on a good surface, so you're actually focusing on the effort of climbing, riding hard, and not on manoeuvring your bike, or if your back wheel slips or something, you've then got to control it and you're losing the intensity of the effort for a short period of time. So on a good surface, make it an even effort. That's, as I say, 4 by 5 minutes, 5 minutes recoveries. Go home and you've done a great session, and you have to then recover for a day or two before you can do another hard session. So other things you can encounter in mountain bike events is you may not have the right gears. So you might come across a short technical section or a short, very steep section, and you could get off and push your bike over those sections, or sometimes it might be better to just sort of dig in a little bit and ride through it, and then you can be back into your rhythm. You don't disturb your rhythm so much. And if you've got a fully loaded bike, or if you're a bit tired, even getting off and getting back on can be quite time consuming. And on a hill, it can be almost impossible to get back on a hill if it's a technical loose surface. So good sessions for this would be things like 4 really hard efforts of 10 seconds, and do this on a hill, obviously, because that's where you're going to encounter it. So and have maybe 30 seconds to a minute recovery. So you're not getting a full recovery. You give it a really good go, 5 or 10 seconds really hard, and then 30 to 60 seconds recoveries. Do it again. Do that 4 times. Give yourself a good break, and then do another set of 4. So you do 3 to 6 sets of 4 by 5 to 10 seconds with 30 seconds to a minute recovery. What the thing to do would be, if you can find a bit of a long enough hill on a good surface to start with, and then as you get better at it, you can start including technical terrain. But remember that we're trying to make a physiological gain here, not just a technical gain. So focus on the physiology and bring in the technical side later. Do it on a hill, 10 seconds hard, easy for 30 seconds, 10 seconds hard, easy for 30 seconds. So you need to do that on a continuous hill. You can't go up and roll back down again because you don't have enough time. Roll back down to the start and do it again. And that'll make a huge difference to your ability to get over steep technical sections and maintain your rhythm, and you won't have to keep getting off and getting on and trying to get on a loose surface and getting really grumpy with yourself. And obviously keeping your mind right is just as important as keeping your body right. And also, if you do a bit of weight training, that can help this type of thing. But remember, if you're doing weight training, do actually lift some proper weights. You won't build strength if you don't really stress your system. So something where you can do, say, 6 to 10 reps, and then you have to have a rest, is the sort of weight that you're looking to be lifting. And the third tip is, as you get closer to your event, start to bring things in that are more specific. I mean, you might encounter gradual hills whereby you don't happen to have the right gears, so you have to ride in your tempo training zone, sort of above your aerobic threshold, and then recover from that. And you're going to pay for that in the event, but practicing it means you've got the mental strength to do it, and also your body starts to become used to it and gets better at recovering. And all these sessions will also build up your anaerobic threshold, which means that all your zones go up, and therefore your tempo zone is no longer tempo, or the pace, the power that you ride at in what was your tempo zone starts to become your endurance zone. And these 3 sessions, I think, will make a huge difference to your performance in an endurance event, any mountain biking event actually. And so give it a go. Let me know how you get on, and I'd love to find out how you're getting on, and if you've got any questions, ask me. One thing to say though is that, as a general rule, you should do these workouts on non-technical terrain. Certainly, even if you do them on the road, it's great, or on the indoor trainer. Indoor trainer is slightly different because it's not uphill unless you've got a fancy one that lifts the front wheel. And also, you might want to do it out of the saddle, particularly for the short efforts, depending on how your bike's set up. And as you get closer to your event, start bringing in the technical terrain, but continue to do things on a good surface, because if you do things on an extremely technical terrain, you won't be able to produce the powers that you need to really make these changes. So finally, even when you've got all this stuff under your belt and you can go anaerobic and recover from it, you still should be really trying hard to avoid it. So really stay in that endurance zone for a long event, because however fit you are, however high your anaerobic capacity, if you've got an anaerobic capacity of Nino Schurter or Jolanda Neff, or even Mathieu van der Poel, all these famous cyclists, they still pay for it when they make these big efforts. So keep it easy in your event, pace it carefully, and if you have to go above your threshold, just know that you can, and you've practiced it, you've got the skill, and you're in much better shape than other people around you. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope that's useful. I hope you try those sessions. Let me know how you get on, and if you want to, if you like it, give me a like. If you don't like it, let me know why and how I can get better. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.